Okay, everyone, why don't we get started? I want to recognize Sean Tuckey to ensuring that, he and uh, Marianne that are making sure that we have these town halls on the books and that we are providing our staff with the update that is needed. As I start every town hall, again, I wanted to recognize the wonderful things that are being done throughout the organization. And it is my hope that all of that information and all of the good work that's being done is being sent to those individuals. I personally try to write thank you notes, and I know the others in the leadership and are doing very similar things. So I usually read a letter that I receive from many veterans or other staff members. So this is pretty simple, but it really hits to the heart, both of these things, of what is being done uh, for all of our veterans. And he simply called us and he wanted me to know last week that he gets his care here at Albany. And he wanted me to know that it's second to none. Every doctor, every provider he sees, everyone he encounters is A1 in his book. He also had some comments that he wanted to share in terms of how do we bring in more veterans. He wanted to ensure that we can bring those veterans on board so that they could receive the care that he's receiving. And he did speak with Mr. Labrille last week. He shared some of his ideas, and I know that Mr. Labrille shared those with Sean and others as our focus. And one of our strong goals for this fiscal year is attracting new veterans. So wonderful comments. And those are the things. So he took time to make a phone call here, and how wonderful that is. And I know that you all received similar phone calls or emails. The second one I wanted to recognize was this came from one of our own employees from the Albany Research Institute. And it came after the January town hall where we spent a lot of time reflecting and talking about the importance of what we do every day, the importance of walking around, the importance of talking to employees, knowing them by their first name, recognizing the contribution that not one, but all of us do together, whether it's in a clinical area, whether it's in an administrative area. It really doesn't matter because one depends upon the other for all that we do. But her comment, and I thank her for it, I sent her a very nice email back, was that she was reminded of how difficult it is for many of us as we make decisions or as we're going through the different leadership COVID issues that have presented us. Because as COVID is changing, we're still put in front of us different situations, which we have to always make different decisions. So reminded me and shared with me Kipling's poem, If. And if many of you haven't, if you don't recall that from, your high school years, Google it. But the first line starts with, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, and think about that. All of us need to remain calm. All of us need to ensure that we can depend upon each other, can look to the left, can look to the right, and know that together we can make a difference. And I see in the picture that Sean has on is the rainbow. And I think it's a little apropos that there is a rainbow through all of this. So again, I Google that and it gives you a feeling of, that all that we're doing, everyone is making decisions from the front line all the way up, and how we can work together to ensure that we're providing the best care to our veterans. So those are two comments. So thank you, Claire, from the Albany research. It meant a lot to me to share that with me. I do wanted to also comment on another piece. As we're working through, the organization, and as we're starting to, we've started to open up, really our percentage we are about 87% of where we were in fiscal year 19 before COVID. But we still have those same goals that we all need to focus in on. It is about ensuring that we can bring more veterans in, so that strategic patient growth that we need to do. It's ensuring that we have excellence in healthcare and access, and focus on the high reliable organization that we do. Continue to focus on outstanding customer service, veterans experience. We're doing a lot out of Glenn Gilbert's office and the patient advocates in terms of veteran experience, looking at all of the things and processes that we can improve upon. And then also the employees' experience, because as I have said numerous times, those are the areas that we can make a difference. If we can improve the satisfaction of our employees, it would or should have a direct impact on the satisfaction of our veterans. So in order of what we want to be a state-of-the-art medical center, and we want to continue to deliver that exceptional and quality of care to all of our veterans in upstate. This service, it has our full continuum, and I know we're going to continue in the acute inpatient, ambulatory, our nursing homes, as well as many of our community-based clinics and services. I know that we're looking at how do we retain, how do we recruit new employees, and I want to say this to you. You are our best recruiters. You have colleagues, you have friends, you have people that you've worked in different areas that you could reach out to. Because working at Albany VA does make you proud. So just recently I visited the ICU where they're looking at tele-ICU. Well, we are implemented tele-ICU. We have tele-stroke. There are so many things that Albany has to offer. Soon we'll all have Vocera. So there's one thing after another, and we build upon that. But I don't build it alone. I need all of you to help with this. We have the foundation, and that's the piece that I can work on. But to build the rest of this organization, to continue with a high reliability, we depend on all of our VA employees. We depend upon our partners, and mostly our union partners, and we depend upon mostly on all of our veterans so that we could be successful. So let's go to C. I think that there are other comments that others have to make as well. Amy, is this where you wanted to?
Darlene, yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi, everyone. Yeah, just to add a little bit more in terms of the employee experience, we are reviewing staffing very closely. There are ongoing efforts in recruitment retention, and we are making that our priority. So there's persistent recruiting going on behind the scenes, and we do have a lot of nursing staff in all disciplines in the hiring pipeline. It's close to about 50 nursing staff. So people are signing on to work at the VA, and I think that that's because of the benefits, the paid leave, the health insurance, the thrift savings plan, retirement benefits, professional growth opportunities. I could go on and on, scholarship benefits, and of course the mission to serve our veterans. So, I think that people see that, and there may still be some pay disparities, but it goes beyond that for people. And there are people signing on to join the VA workforce, which is great. And so I just wanted to kind of mention that, and that we are reviewing staffing and applying strategies to mitigate staffing shortages. Like, for example, you would notice that we've consolidated more residents in one neighborhood of the CLC. to maximize the use of resources more efficiently. And Darlene mentioned, programs like the tele-ICU as an example. This isn't a replacement of nursing staff at the bedside or providers at the bedside, but it just provides an additional peace of mind that there are other eyes, albeit virtually, that are monitoring patients that act as a second set of eyes, can be used during as resources during emergencies, alerting staff of the subtle signs and, patients' change of condition. So this is just another layer of safety for our patients, our staff, makes us an HRO, and that's one example, I think, of how we can retain staff and improve satisfaction. So thank you for mentioning that, Darlene. So a lot happening behind the scenes. Carolyn is definitely making recruitment and retention her priority, as am I. And we are looking for ways to also maximize the use of our recruitment retention incentives here in Albany too.
And Amy, thank you. Wonderfully said. And the support that Amy and Carolyn are doing for all of nursing is a tremendous lift. We can't do it overnight, so it's going to be over a period of time. Those are not the only areas. There are a lot of other clinical areas that are focused. We recognize that we have challenges with recruiting people in the lab, et cetera, and other clinical areas, technology, radiology. And we're doing, again, the same things, looking at how can we best support those staff. Amy, I'm not sure where you're going to play your video, if you're going to do it now or.
Yeah, so we want to announce the raffle winners. So we do have a short video we can share with you. And also just to mention, after the announcement is made of the winners, the raffle baskets can be picked up at 8:05D anytime between now and 4 p.m. and again tomorrow. Obviously, they can be picked up at any time. It's not like they're going to go anywhere. We'll wait for you, but just make sure you have your tickets ready. There will also be a postmaster with the winning tickets, and the flowers are absolutely gorgeous. They are here also for pickup in 8:05B. They are gorgeous. So thank you again for everyone's support of our nurses and nursing staff. So don't be alarmed if you didn't see the numbers. We'll get them out in a postmaster as well.
Okay. Sean, were you gonna put the slides back up? Or is there another video that you're working on?
Eric, I'm pulling right now. Can you hear me?
I can, Sean.
Okay, thank you. I can do this slide, Director.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So this is just our, we do every town hall, our situation report for today. We have no COVID positive veterans in house. We have 12 we're monitoring in the community. Our bed occupancy for today is we have 2 in the ICU, 19 on 7B, 21 on 8B, 24 on 9B, 11 on 9C, 9 on 10B, and 5 on 10C. And the other thing, if I could just make a plug, yesterday and or Monday and Tuesday, Postmaster went out. The vaccine clinic is increased their hours to 8 to 4, and in accordance with the CDC guidelines, if they're adults 50 and older that are eligible for a second booster shot, they can schedule through the link in the Postmaster, and I'll drop it in the chat box when we're done. And then next we have infection prevention.
Hi, thank you, Sean. It's Marlene from Infection Prevention. If you can go on to the next slide. Sorry, hold on a second. Thank you. So I just want to emphasize, sorry, can you go back to the initial slide? I apologize, I was lost. So it's more important than ever to take steps to reduce your risk for any respiratory illness, not necessarily just COVID, but also, the flu, the common cold, and RSV. We just want to emphasize that we have seen an uptick in our positivity rate in the in the capital region. I think right now we're about 7%. So I want to emphasize that, COVID is still around. I know we're kind of, we want to move on from COVID, but it's still here. So please just take, the precautions that are necessary to, protect yourself and your colleagues and the veterans. I also want to just mention that we're seeing a lot more of the flu this season than last year. So we've also seen an uptick in flu cases, not only within our veteran population, but also our employees. Next slide, please. So COVID, colds, and the flu are contagious respiratory diseases caused by viruses. They spread the same way and their symptoms can be very similar. So if you test negative for COVID, just keep in mind that you can potentially have the flu or RSV or just, the common cold. So we continue to ask all staff to follow these strategies. Stay home if you're sick, report illnesses or exposures to your supervisors. So we've kind of been seeing that there seems to be some sort of disconnect in communication. So if an employee takes a home test, the information is not necessarily being provided to us until, days later when the employee wants to know when they can return to work. So it's important that this is done in a timely fashion. So if you, the employee or the supervisor, test positive, or the employee calls the supervisor and says, hey, I took a home test and I'm positive, it's really important that we know in a timely fashion to ensure that we do appropriate and effective contact tracing. So supervisors, when your staff report ill, please email VHA ALN staffing updates at va.gov or call occupational health or infection control with the information. Please remember to socially distance during breaks and lunch periods. Staff who work in shared workspaces, offices, must remain masked regardless if the door is open or closed. I think we've become, as a whole in the community, just in general, a little lax about mask use. So if you're in an office alone, obviously you don't have to wear a mask. But if you are in an, a shared space, you need to be wearing your mask because you're still at risk if if your colleague becomes ill and you're not wearing a mask and the door is closed or the door is open, you're putting yourself at risk for getting COVID. All staff need to mask at all times with eye protection. Eyeglasses are not appropriate protection during all patient encounters, and get your COVID booster if you are eligible to protect yourself and others. I think Chris Gagnon made a comment, and the Omicron variant spreads more easily than earlier variants of the virus that cause COVID. So if there are any questions, please let us know. We're always available via phone call or email or Teams message. We're here to guide you, so please feel free to reach out to us.
Marlene, Neri, there's a question in the chat box. I don't know if you or Chris G can answer it. It says, oh, Chris Gagnon answered it. So if you can't see the chat box, the question was, is it typical with mutations and variations? And Chris Gagnon said yes, there are, which is good because it decreases hospitalizations and deaths.
Yes, I think one of the things we want to emphasize too is that with all these kind of subvariants, as Amy touched on, it's not causing death or hospitalizations, but you're still sick. And what we're seeing is that it's actually milder symptoms, like, a runny nose, or a slight tickle in your throat and things like that. So people don't necessarily think anything of it because it's so mild. But it's still COVID, and you could still transmit it to your coworkers, and your colleagues and the veterans. And that, it also plays a role if you are, unfortunately, if you're unvaccinated. So it might hit you differently than, let's say, somebody, who is vaccinated.
Thank you, Marlene.
Thanks, Marlene. Really appreciate it. Again, the support that we have received from the infection prevention nurses and Chris Gagnon, excuse me, having a hard time this morning. Truly, it's been outstanding. You're always there for us to answer questions. You're tracking, you're providing information, and it's changing on a day-to-day basis. So thank you. So Marlene, one question that I have, because someone asked me the other day, I did respond, but others may have that same question, that if they got the J&J in the community and now want to get a booster, can they come here and enter an employee? Can they come here and get the Moderna booster?
Yes, I think so. Dr. Carlin is on, so she might be able to answer this a little bit better. But yes, you can get the Moderna or the Pfizer booster if you've been vaccinated originally with J&J.
Yes, not only can they, but they should.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. Thank you. And that's what I told them, but I wanted to be sure I was hearing it from the experts.
Darlene, if I can quickly just make one comment. So I just want to say that Chris Gagnon is officially retiring next week. And we are sad to lose her, but this is well deserved. So I just wanted to announce it, that she will be missed terribly.
Yeah, I can't say enough wonderful things about you, Chris. You have really exemplified what an employee of the VA is and what we stand for. We appreciate you coming to work with us and the other team members during our COVID surges. We hope you enjoy your retirement. You have been a wonderful individual, and I have truly appreciated working with you throughout the years. So we wish you well. Look at all the well wishers. Christine, would you like to say something?
I just want to say thank you, and I'm going to miss all of you terribly. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come back and work with Marlene and Chris and Kelly. It's been wonderful.
We put you through a lot, Christine.
It's a challenge and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we
Um,
wish you well, but I'm not going to say never. Maybe there'll be an opportunity again, Christine.
Remember, Billy Martin came back to the Yankees 4 times, I believe. So
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Pellerin.
Okay. So you're really going to enjoy your vacation, your
Yes,
retirement. Okay.
Enjoy
I
your
am.
grandbabies.
That's it. I've got 3 of them now, so I'm excited to spend some time with them.
Wow, that's a lot. Those are all COVID babies, I would imagine. So to
3
speak.
boys. Yeah, 3 boys.
Okay. Okay. Because I don't think you had all of the grandchildren before you left. So the first time.
No.
Good. Well deserved, as someone put in their grandma. So well deserved. And you're too young to be a grandmother, so.
Huh.
All right.
I hope so.
All right. Anything else from anyone? I know we have a slide to do an HR overview on whistleblower.
We do. Ian Hunt should be on to cover this next slide.
Thank you, Ian, for joining us. We miss having you with us.
Oh, hold on. There we go. All right. Had to figure out the mic button. Yes. Good morning, everyone. So, thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Sean, for the quick intro. So, just to basically brief this from the HR side of things. So, Sean has up on the slide there just the Office of Special Counsel guidance that's there, and there's also a link that goes into more detail as well. That's a little bit longer. So basically the important thing is knowing the specific reasons about when you can report wrongdoings and also your important rights. So as you can see here in the handout, violations of law, rule, regulation, gross mismanagement, waste of funds, use of authority, specific danger to public health or safety. So the important thing is just to know that with your disclosures, they can be made to supervisors or further up the chain to agency inspectors. So it's one of those things where whether it's within your chain or if you don't feel comfortable, just to know that you have certain rights afforded to you as far as who you can provide that information to. And then if you go into the further handout, it'll go into other matters such as the confidentiality and things like that. So it's worth taking a look there because depending on who you make the disclosure to, like for example, if you speak to like an IG inspector on like a hotline or something, generally speaking, confidentiality is assured versus obviously if you go through other means and report it directly. So it's worth taking a look at that link in the handout. And then as far as other concerns that you may have, it's described in detail there. So if you have other questions, you can certainly reach out to Human Resources if you have concerns about how to properly go through the process or something like that, so we can help direct you. Or again, you can go to the OSC website, osc.gov. And you can also review the information there as far as the process and avenues afforded to you as far as whistleblowing is concerned.
Thanks. Thanks, Ian. Again, want to be sure that every employee has this. We will send the link out on Postmaster, so every employee will have it. There are posters around the organization. Why do we do that? As a high reliable organization, we're focusing on just culture. We're focusing on the values that we have for a high reliability. And again, it's in terms of everyone has that duty to speak, stopping the line, asking appropriate questions as we look at making sure that we're providing safe care to all of our veterans and our focus on employees. So we want to be sure that we can present that at every town hall. Let's open it up for Q&A. So we're going to open the lines right now. Are there any questions from anyone? Okay. Amy, was there another video that you wanted to show for Nurses Week or?
No, that, the raffle video was the only one.
Okay. All right. So if you don't have a question right now, if you have other questions, you could always send that through. We do appreciate the work that you're doing. I ask that for many of you, I'll see you throughout the rest of the week, but I ask that you have a peaceful weekend, no matter what you celebrate or how you celebrate. I thank you again. For all that you're doing. And if you have suggestions on what you would like in a town hall, what you would want to hear more about, please let Sean know and we can make those changes. All right. There's a lot of things about you, Chris, in the chat box. So make sure that you are able to read them all. So when is your last day, Chris?
Sorry, I kept shutting my mic off.
Okay.
It's going to be next Friday. I'll be returning my equipment and saying goodbye.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. All right. Thank you again, everyone.
Yep.
And thank you to the leadership team as
Yep.
well for supporting it and Sean. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye now.